Hello everyone and welcome to the Young and the Restless channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The winds of uncertainty sweep through Genoa City as long-buried tensions rise back to the surface, setting the stage for a day filled with doubt, confrontation, and dangerous secrets that refuse to stay hidden. Sharon Newman finds herself unable to shake a growing sense of unease, her instincts warning her that something about Sienna Bacall's story simply doesn't add up. The tale of Matt Clark's death, wrapped in mystery and finality, feels too convenient, too neatly packaged for Sharon to accept without question. As she listens and observes, her skepticism deepens, turning into a quiet but persistent suspicion that Sienna may not be telling the whole truth. Whether it's the inconsistencies in her account or the emotional undercurrent that feels just slightly off, Sharon begins to wonder if this alleged tragedy is nothing more than a carefully constructed illusion. And if that's true, then the implications are far more dangerous than anyone is prepared to face. At the same time, the Newman family finds itself drawn back together under tense and complicated circumstances, with Nick Newman returning to Genoa City alongside Sharon, Sienna, and Noah Newman. Their arrival brings not comfort, but an unspoken heaviness that lingers in every glance and unfinished sentence. Chelsea Lawson and Adam Newman are also back in the fold, and with Adam's ever-watchful eye, it doesn't take long for troubling truths to begin surfacing. Adam may quietly alert Victor Newman to the struggles Nick has been trying to keep hidden, setting off a chain reaction that only Victor could ignite. Known for his relentless pursuit of control and truth, Victor wastes no time confronting his son, cornering Nick in a moment that leaves no room for deflection or denial. The weight of Victor's expectations presses down hard, forcing Nick to face a reality he's been trying desperately to avoid. As father and son stand on opposite sides of a painful truth, the conversation turns deeply personal, cutting through layers of pride and secrecy. Victor demands honesty, not just as a father, but as a man unwilling to watch his family fall apart under the weight of lies. Nick, burdened by a serious drug addiction, finds himself pushed to the edge, where silence is no longer an option. The admission, when it comes, is heavy and raw, filled with the kind of vulnerability that rarely surfaces in the Newman dynasty. Victor listens, but his concern is layered with urgency, knowing that time is not on their side if Nick continues down this destructive path. Yet even as this emotional confrontation unfolds, another question lingers in Victor's mind: the truth about Matt Clark and the story Sienna has brought with her. But Sienna's claims don't land as she might have hoped. Instead of closure, they spark doubt, especially in Sharon, whose instincts refuse to be silenced. The details surrounding Matt's supposed death raise more questions than answers, from the unsettling mention of blood splatters to the conspicuous absence of a body. Sharon begins to piece together a theory that feels as unsettling as it is plausible: that Sienna may have lied, possibly even helping Matt disappear rather than perish. And yet, the situation may not be as simple as deception for selfish gain. There's a possibility that Sienna's actions were driven by a desperate need to protect Noah and those he loves, choosing a dangerous lie over a devastating truth. Or perhaps Sienna herself believes the story she's telling, convinced that she truly erased Matt from their lives. But beneath it all, one undeniable reality remains. Matt Clark is still alive, and his absence is only temporary, a ticking time bomb waiting to explode back into their lives. As these secrets simmer beneath the surface, another storm begins to brew on a different front, where power and control take center stage. Victoria Newman prepares herself for battle, her focus locked firmly on Phyllis Summers, whose defiance has pushed matters to a breaking point. If Phyllis is determined to take this fight to court, then Victoria is equally determined to meet her there with unwavering force. The stakes couldn't be higher, as the future of the Newman Empire hangs in the balance, and Victoria has no intention of letting it slip through her fingers. She begins to strategize with precision, ensuring that every move is calculated, every argument sharpened, all in preparation for what promises to be a ruthless showdown. For Victoria, this isn't just about business, it's about legacy, about reclaiming what she believes rightfully belongs to her family. Meanwhile, Phyllis stands at the center of it all, caught between fear and stubborn determination. The looming threat of prison casts a long shadow over her, a consequence that grows more real with each passing moment. And yet, despite the risks, Phyllis refuses to back down. her resolve hardening even as the walls begin to close in around her. It's a dangerous game she's playing, one where pride may ultimately cost her everything, but for now, she holds her ground, unwilling to surrender. As tensions rise and alliances are tested, Genoa City becomes a battleground of secrets, power, and emotional reckoning, where every choice carries weight and every truth threatens to change everything. As the tension continues to coil tightly around Genoa City, the emotional fallout from these revelations begins to ripple through every corner of the Newman family, leaving no one untouched. Nick Newman, still reeling from the painful admission he was forced to make, finds himself standing at a crossroads that feels both urgent and uncertain. The weight of his addiction no longer lives in the shadows. It has been dragged into the light, exposed in front of the one man whose expectations have always loomed largest in his life. Victor Newman doesn't offer easy comfort, nor does he soften the gravity of the situation. Instead, his presence remains firm and unyielding, a reminder that recovery will demand strength, honesty, and accountability. Yet beneath Victor's stern exterior, there is a flicker of something deeper. A quiet determination to not lose his son to a battle that can still be fought. And as Nick absorbs the reality of what lies ahead, the road forward feels daunting, but no longer avoidable. Not far from this deeply personal struggle, Sharon Newman continues to wrestle with the unanswered questions surrounding Sienna Bacall's story, her instincts refusing to let her accept things at face value. Every detail Sienna provided begins to replay in Sharon's mind, each inconsistency growing louder the more she thinks about it. The image of blood splatter without a body becomes a haunting symbol of everything that doesn't make sense, pushing Sharon closer to a conclusion that others may not yet be ready to face. When she looks at Sienna, she doesn't just see a grieving woman. She sees someone carrying a secret, whether intentional or not. And as Sharon's suspicions deepen, so does her resolve to uncover the truth, even if it means unraveling something far more dangerous than anyone anticipated. Meanwhile, Sienna finds herself under a silent but growing pressure, the weight of scrutiny beginning to close in around her. Whether she is hiding something or simply struggling to make sense of her own version of events, the cracks are starting to show. Her connection to Noah Newman adds another layer of complexity, intertwining emotion, loyalty, and fear into a situation that refuses to stay simple. If she did play a role in helping Matt Clark disappear, it may have been born out of a desperate attempt to protect Noah and his family from a threat that felt too close, too real to ignore. But even if her intentions were rooted in protection, the consequences of such a decision are unpredictable and potentially devastating. And if, on the other hand, she truly believes Matt is gone, then the truth waiting in the shadows will hit even harder when it finally emerges. Because the truth, no matter how deeply buried, has a way of resurfacing, and Matt Clark is far from finished. Though the illusion of his death has been carefully constructed, it is only a matter of time before that illusion shatters, sending shockwaves through everyone connected to his story. His inevitable return promises not just answers but chaos, reopening wounds and exposing secrets that were never meant to see the light of day. The quiet tension that now lingers will give way to something far more explosive, and when that moment comes, no one will be prepared for the fallout. Across town, the atmosphere carries a different kind of intensity as Victoria Newman sharpens her focus, fully stepping into a battle she refuses to lose. Her determination to reclaim control and protect the Newman Empire burns stronger with each passing moment, fueling her readiness to face Phyllis Summers head-on. This is no longer a matter of negotiation or compromise. It is a fight, and Victoria is preparing to play hardball in every sense of the word. Legal strategies are carefully constructed, every possible outcome analyzed, as she positions herself to dismantle Phyllis's stance piece by piece. There is a cold precision in her approach, a calculated confidence that leaves little room for doubt about her intentions. For Victoria, victory isn't optional, it's inevitable. And yet, on the other side of this looming courtroom clash, Phyllis remains as unyielding as ever, her defiance standing tall even as the risks grow more severe. The threat of prison looms closer now, no longer a distant possibility, but a very real consequence that could change her life forever. Still, there is something unbreakable in her resolve, a refusal to be cornered or silenced, no matter how high the stakes become. It's a dangerous kind of courage, one that blurs the line between strength and recklessness. But it's also what defines her. As she digs her heels in, determined to see this fight through, the tension between her and Victoria builds toward an inevitable collision. And so, as the day unfolds, Genoa City becomes a place where secrets hover just beneath the surface, where power struggles ignite, and where emotional truths demand to be confronted. Each storyline weaves into the next, creating a tapestry of tension, vulnerability, and impending revelation that refuses to settle. The air feels heavier, charged with the promise of what's to come, as every character stands on the edge of something that could change everything. In this world of ambition, loyalty, and hidden agendas, the calm never lasts long, and the next storm is already on the horizon, waiting for the perfect moment to break. As night begins to fall over Genoa City, the tension that has been quietly building throughout the day settles into something heavier, something more foreboding, as if the entire city is holding its breath in anticipation of what comes next. Nick Newman finds himself alone with his thoughts, the echoes of his confrontation with Victor Newman still ringing in his ears, refusing to fade into the background. The admission he made, so raw, so unguarded, has left him exposed in a way he hasn't felt in years, stripping away the illusion of control he's tried so hard to maintain. There's a quiet reckoning taking place within him now, a painful awareness that the life he's been living can no longer continue the way it has. And yet, even as that realization settles in, the path forward feels uncertain. Filled with difficult choices and consequences he can no longer outrun. Somewhere deep down, there's a flicker of hope, fragile but present, that maybe this moment, this breaking point, could also be the beginning of something better. Not far away, Victor watches the pieces of his family's fragile stability shifting, his mind already working several steps ahead as he considers what must be done. He is not a man who leaves things to chance, and Nick's confession has only reinforced his determination to take control of the situation before it spirals further. But even as he focuses on his son, the unresolved mystery surrounding Matt Clark lingers in his thoughts, refusing to be ignored. Sienna Bacall's story doesn't sit right with him either, and though he may not voice every suspicion aloud, there is a quiet understanding that more lies beneath the surface than anyone is willing to admit. Victor has built his empire on instinct as much as strategy, and right now, every instinct is telling him that the truth about Matt is far from settled. And when that truth finally comes out, he intends to be ready for it, no matter how disruptive it may be. Across town, Sharon Newman's determination hardens into something unshakable, her earlier doubts now evolving into a quiet mission she cannot abandon. She begins connecting the fragments of Sienna's story, replaying every word, every pause, every subtle shift in tone, searching for the truth hidden between the lines. The more she examines it, the clearer it becomes that this is not a simple case of tragedy and closure, but something far more calculated, far more dangerous. Sharon understands the risks of digging too deep, especially when it involves someone like Matt Clark, but her instincts won't allow her to walk away. There is too much at stake, not just for her, but for Noah Newman and everyone caught in this web of uncertainty. And so, with quiet resolve, she steps further into the unknown, prepared to uncover a truth that could change everything. Meanwhile, Sienna feels the walls beginning to close in. Even if no one has openly accused her of anything just yet, there's a subtle shift in the way she's being looked at, a hesitation in the air that wasn't there before, and it's enough to unsettle her. Whether she is hiding a secret or simply overwhelmed by the gravity of what she believes to be true, the pressure is becoming impossible to ignore. Her connection to Noah becomes both a source of comfort and a potential vulnerability, tying her more deeply into a situation that is rapidly unraveling. If her actions were meant to protect, then the cost of that protection may soon come due in ways she never anticipated. And if she has been deceived, if Matt Clark is not as gone as she believes, then she may soon find herself at the center of a storm she never saw coming. Because somewhere, beyond the reach of Genoa City's watchful eyes, the truth continues to breathe, waiting patiently for its moment to return. Matt Clark is not gone, not erased, not finished, and his absence is nothing more than a temporary silence before something far more explosive. His eventual return will not be quiet or forgiving. It will tear through the carefully constructed lies and half-truths, forcing everyone to confront the reality they've tried to avoid. And when that moment arrives, it won't just answer questions, it will create new ones, unraveling lives in ways no one can fully prepare for. At the same time, Victoria Newman stands firmly at the helm of her own battle, her focus unwavering as she moves forward with her plan to take down Phyllis Summers. There is no hesitation left in her approach, no room for doubt, as she prepares for the legal war that now feels inevitable.
Every detail is being scrutinized, every strategy refined, as she positions herself to strike with precision and force. For Victoria, this fight is deeply personal, tied not just to business, but to pride, legacy, and control over what she believes belongs to her family. She refuses to be outmaneuvered, refuses to let Phyllis dictate the terms of this conflict, and her determination only grows stronger with each passing moment. Yet Phyllis, standing on the opposite side of this escalating war, remains just as resolute, her defiance burning brightly even in the face of looming consequences. The threat of prison has not broken her spirit. It has sharpened it, pushing her to stand her ground with even greater intensity. There is a stubborn courage in her refusal to back down, a willingness to risk everything rather than surrender, even when the odds seem stacked against her.
It's a dangerous path, one that could lead to devastating consequences, but it's also the only path she's willing to take. As the distance between her and Victoria narrows, the inevitability of their clash becomes undeniable. And so, as the darkness of night fully settles over Genoa City, the stage is set for a series of confrontations that will leave no one unchanged. Secrets hover just beneath the surface, ready to erupt, while alliances are tested and loyalties pushed to their limits. Every character stands on the edge of a turning point, where the choices they make will shape what comes next in ways they cannot yet see. The city feels alive with tension, every shadow carrying the weight of what is still hidden, every silence filled with the promise of revelation. And as the story continues to unfold, one thing becomes clear. This is only the beginning of a storm that will change everything. As a new day looms on the horizon, the quiet tension that gripped Genoa City overnight begins to transform into something far more volatile, as if the city itself senses that the fragile balance holding everything together is about to collapse. Nick Newman wakes with the weight of everything he's confessed pressing heavily on his chest, the reality of his addiction no longer something he can push aside or deny. The silence around him feels different now, less like peace and more like a pause before a storm, and every thought circles back to the confrontation with Victor Newman that changed everything. There's a growing awareness that recovery will demand more than words, more than promises. It will require action, sacrifice, and a willingness to confront parts of himself he's long avoided. And yet, beneath the fear and uncertainty, there is the faintest sense of clarity, as if for the first time in a long while, he can see the path ahead, however difficult it may be. It's a beginning born out of pain, but a beginning nonetheless. Victor, meanwhile, wastes no time allowing that fragile clarity to drift into inaction, already setting events into motion with the precision and authority that define him. He knows that Nick's battle cannot be fought halfway, and his role in it will be anything but passive, whether his son welcomes it or not. There are calls to be made, decisions to be enforced, and a plan to be constructed, one that ensures Nick is given no opportunity to slip back into denial. But even as Victor focuses on protecting his family from one internal crisis, his instincts continue to pull him toward another, far less understood threat. The story of Matt Clark refuses to fade into the background, lingering like an unfinished equation that demands resolution. Victor senses the deception woven into it, the missing pieces that no one has yet been able to explain, and he knows better than to ignore that instinct.
Whatever game is being played, he intends to uncover it before it spirals beyond control. Elsewhere, Sharon Newman's quiet investigation begins to take on a life of its own, her determination sharpening with every unanswered question that lingers in her mind. She no longer sees Sienna Bacall's story as something to be accepted or dismissed lightly. It has become a puzzle that demands to be solved, no matter the cost. Every inconsistency, every unexplained detail becomes a thread she is unwilling to let go of, pulling her deeper into a truth that feels increasingly dangerous. There's a sense that time is working against her, that whatever really happened to Matt Clark is not meant to stay hidden forever, and when it surfaces, it could bring consequences none of them are ready for. Still, Sharon presses on, guided by instinct and an unwavering need to protect those she loves, especially Noah Newman, whose life seems more entangled in this mystery than he may even realize. The deeper she digs, the more she senses that the truth is closer than anyone thinks, and far more explosive. Sienna, caught in the center of this growing storm, begins to feel the strain in ways she can no longer ignore, as doubt, whether from others or from within herself, starts to take hold. Her composure becomes harder to maintain, the weight of everything she knows, or believes she knows, pressing against her with increasing force. Every glance, every subtle shift in tone from those around her feels like a question waiting to be asked, a suspicion waiting to be confirmed. If she played a role in Matt's disappearance, then the burden of that choice is beginning to reveal its true cost, threatening to unravel everything she hoped to protect. And if she's been misled, if the truth she's clinging to is nothing more than a carefully constructed lie, then the ground beneath her is far less stable than she ever imagined. Either way, the illusion cannot hold forever, and when it breaks, it will take more than just answers. It will demand accountability. And somewhere beyond the edges of their awareness, the truth continues to wait, patient and unrelenting, ready to return at the worst possible moment. Matt Clark remains a shadow looming over everything, his absence more dangerous than his presence ever was, because it allows fear and speculation to fill the void. His return is no longer a question of if, but when. And when it happens, it will send shockwaves through Genoa City that no one will be able to escape. Every lie, every secret, every desperate decision made in his absence will be dragged into the light, forcing everyone to confront the consequences they've tried to outrun. The calm that exists now is nothing more than a fragile illusion, one that is already beginning to crack. Across town, the legal battle between Victoria Newman and Phyllis Summers inches closer to its breaking point, the tension between them now impossible to contain. Victoria moves forward with unwavering confidence, her strategy unfolding exactly as she intends, each step calculated to ensure that she holds the upper hand when the time comes. There is no hesitation in her approach, no room for compromise, only a singular focus on reclaiming control and protecting her family's legacy at any cost. She is prepared for every argument, every challenge Phyllis might bring, and she stands ready to dismantle them with ruthless efficiency. For Victoria, this is more than a fight, it's a statement, a declaration that the Newman Empire will not be threatened without consequence. But Phyllis, standing firm in the face of that overwhelming force, refuses to yield, her determination burning brighter with every attempt to push her back. The threat of prison still looms heavily over her, a constant reminder of what she stands to lose. Yet it does nothing to shake her resolve. If anything, it strengthens it, fueling a stubborn defiance that refuses to bend, even when logic might suggest otherwise. She knows the risks, understands the stakes, and still chooses to fight, unwilling to let fear dictate her decisions. It's a dangerous gamble, one that could cost her everything, but it's a gamble she's committed to seeing through. As the distance between her and Victoria disappears entirely, the inevitability of their confrontation becomes undeniable. And so, as the city stirs and the next chapter begins to unfold, Genoa City stands on the edge of something transformative, where every secret threatens to surface and every decision carries irreversible consequences. The lives intertwined within it are moving toward a collision course, one driven by truth, power, and the fragile nature of trust. There is no turning back now, no easy escape from what lies ahead, only the certainty that everything is about to change. The storm that has been building is no longer distant. It is here, gathering strength, ready to break over everyone in its path. And when it does, nothing and no one will remain the same.